It is Walpat. Oh, wow, that's kind of high. Hang on. That's what happens when you take cameras with you on shoots. John, here, you there? It's a Wall Pass Wednesday, and we're back here in the Kaiser Permanente studios with an uneven camera. There we go. So it's John, here, you there, once again, back here today. So I'm trying to think of the rest of the week. Tomorrow I'll be here. Friday will be here. Okay, I think. So that's where we are. After bouncing around yesterday, and we were at the Children's Healthcare of Atlanta training ground for Atlanta United 2 and Chicago Fire 2, big matchup in the Eastern Conference. We'll have your highlights and your post later in the show, because I think we're probably going to have to invert the rundown a little bit considering the guests we have in hour number 2. Hour number 2 starts with Dylan at 10. So we've got to get into the MLS discussion there. 10:30, Marion Crowder, who was stuck at practice yesterday. Yes, we're talking practice. Not a game, practice. She was getting ready for UGA and James Madison. That is tomorrow, soccer at Sanford. We will be there, pregame show at 6, so about 6:50, and then turn over to SEC Network for Marion, who will be downstairs, and Jill Lloyd and our buddy Glenn Davis, who believes that soccer matters, and it does. And so it'll be Glenn and Jill upstairs, Marion downstairs, Marion joining us at 10:30 to break down the matchup and her new duties when it comes to college football. So we're going to talk college football and football with Marion coming up at 10:30, Dylan Butler at 10 o'clock. So I'm thinking the twos discussion will be after Marion, and that'll wrap up the show. And that means that hour number 1 is the MLS preview, but we'll probably postpone that to the bottom of the hour because leading into Dylan. So that means that here at the front is where we'll do all of the news and the gossip and the reports and the stories and all of that stuff. So we're going to kind of invert the rundown, what to watch and all that. So that's what I think that's where we're headed today, is that all the late stuff goes early, because MLS goes in the middle and college goes late, and the twos will wrap us up. But it was a big win for the twos yesterday. We'll have your highlights and posts from Jose Silva and Andrew Hardinas. That's going to be toward the end of the show. Because of that win, Atlanta United 2 is 6th in the East in MLS Next Pro. And with 5 matches to go, it's a mess. Just to give you an idea. You have 8 teams separated by 6 points. You have 9 teams separated by 8 to either stay in or get into the playoffs. Red Bull at 38, Atlanta United 2, 11 wins and 37. By the way, there are 6 teams in the Eastern Conference with 11 wins. Crown Legacy has 12. The 6 teams behind Crown Legacy all have 11 wins. Atlanta United 2 is at 37 points, 11 wins, better goal difference. Connecticut United match in hand, and I think that gets taken care of tonight. Chicago Fire 2 with the loss. They dropped to 8, 9 wins. Orlando City B, 9th at 35. NYCFC, they play tonight, and I believe they play Crown Legacy. So they're at 33 points, 2 matches in hand on some, above them in the standings. 33 points, 9 wins, 21 games. Philadelphia Union 2 is 11th, 33 points, 9 wins, inferior goal difference to NYC. Huntsville City Football Club now in 12th at 32, 8 wins, -5 in goal difference. So that's what you've got between now and the end of the season. You've got the 4 teams that have kind of separated themselves up. Crown at 48, Chattanooga at 44, Revs at 42, better goal difference than Crew 2. 1 through 4, they've kind of separated themselves from the pack. Although Red Bulls in Atlanta and Connecticut United, they're within shouting distance of Crew, but Red Bull and Atlanta have played 1 more match. So that's what you're looking at in the chaos of the Eastern Conference in MLS Next Pro. Tonight, NYCFC2 hosting FC Cincinnati 2 at 5 o'clock at Icon. 7 o'clock, Crown Legacy. So if you're an Atlanta United 2 fan, you're actually rooting for Crown Legacy. Crown Legacy hosting Connecticut United at Matthews at 7 o'clock. Dynamo Dos hosting the Earthquakes at SaberCat Stadium at 7 o'clock. Inter Miami already eliminated from playoff contention. And Revs 2 are going to be at the Erector Set in Fort Lauderdale, 7 o'clock. North Texas, 8:48 kick at Mansfield is hosting Los Verdos, Austin FC 2 in the Western Conference. So that's where we are right now. So if you're scoreboard watching tonight as an Atlanta United 2 fan and watching your Major League Soccer, NYCFC 2 at 5 o'clock. Crown Legacy, you're rooting for them against Connecticut United at 7. And the Revs are in that group of 4. So they just, if they keep winning, it doesn't necessarily affect you as much. But you're keeping an eye on the 2 early matchups. NYCFC 2 at 5 o'clock. Crown Legacy FC at 7 o'clock with Connecticut United, OneFootball, MLSNextPro.com, and the Major League Soccer YouTube channel. So that's your MLS Next Pro update. And like I said, we'll go over what happened yesterday. Abby was there. She saw us. And it was a big win yesterday in rising temperatures. But like I said, we'll have your highlights in your post at the end of the show this morning, and we'll set up everything. But that's your rundown for the 2s. And technically, I guess that means that's opening kickoff, brought to us by our friends at Black Pitch Coffee and blackpitchcoffee.com. Start your day with the most important stories and the right way to start your morning. Part of the SDH community showing up at events all over Atlanta. Try their home blend made with beans from Brazil, Guatemala, heavy body, notes of walnut and semi-sweet chocolate, and a rich world-class finish. Opening kickoff, powered by Black Pitch Coffee and blackpitchcoffee.com. Once again, thanks to our friends there for being great partners with us this season. And great to have them along here in 2026. So that's the opening kickoff part of the program. Now let's get you into all of the gossip, the rumor, and the innuendo that is up and running. For Atlanta United, by the way, Paulo Diaz did travel with the squad to Minnesota. Jay Fortune is out recovering from a hamstring injury. Will Riley, questionable coming off the ankle. And Mauricio Amado is waiting his visa. So that's where we are with the 2s. With the first team, as they made it up yesterday to Minnesota. They're up there in the Twin Cities. So gossip, rumor, and innuendo. Let's get into that. Ben Jacobs has been very, very busy this morning, by the way. Morning, Abby. Morning, David. Morning, Alex. So your trending rumors, and I feel like I should kind of start like this. Harry Kane's reps have reportedly talked to Al Hilal, according to Talk Sport, at the top of their striker shortlist. That also includes Galatasaray's Victor Osimhen, heavily linked with a move to the Prem this past summer, as well as Ollie Watkins. Kane wants to sign a new deal at Bayern, hasn't yet ruled out a move. Al Hilal wants to be kept up to date on his long-term plans. Napoli lodged inquiries for Manchester United forward Joshua Zirkzee and Chelsea's Nico Jackson, according to Sky. Both Premier League strikers could be on the move this summer, although the £65 million valuation of Jackson could prove to be a bit of a stumbling block. Zirkzee is also wanted by Juve, who are in the market for a new number 9 after Dusan Vlahovic's exit to Besiktas on a free. Napoli could also turn to Gabriel Jesus, who'll be allowed to leave for around £30 million. Newcastle, one of 3 clubs vying to sign AC Milan forward Christopher Nkunku, according to Foot Mercato. Wanted by Dortmund and Leipzig, pushing hard to get a deal. As things stand, a move to Saudi or Turkey is not being considered for Nkunku, 7 goals in 32 Serie A matches last year. Spurs weighing up a move for PSG defender Ilya Zabarny following the exit of Cuti Romero, according to Team Talk. 37 times last year, all comps, as PSG won Ligue 1 and the Champions League after leaving Bournemouth for a €63 million fee back in 25, could be tempted back to the Prem. Villa have agreed on a deal to sign West Ham United right back Aaron Wan-Bissaka, according to BBC. 28 joins Villa on an initial loan with an obligation to make the move permanent at the end of the year. Wan-Bissaka has been granted permission to travel for the medical. Exact terms remain unclear. West Ham previously seeking a £25 million fee from clubs looking to land at the DR Congo International. Zion Suzuki, done deal. Aston Villa from Parma and Matteo Ruggeri from Atletico de Madrid. If you missed it yesterday, Xavier Gozo posted a very heartfelt note to all of the fans in Utah and for RSL fans who plug in on social media. He's out the door. Officially official, signed. Earlier in August, it was reported the deal to be in the range of $15 million. It was a new track record for RSL, but the video was posted yesterday on RSL socials. Xavier Gozo saying his goodbye. Paul Pogba has left Monaco after his contract was ended a year early. Pogba's deal with Monaco due to expire next summer, but ahead of the first league matches, he's departed and is now a free agent. Manchester United in talks with Brighton over a deal for Carlos Baleba. That scream you heard about 7 o'clock this morning was our Drew Dickinson. Similar inquiry last summer came to nothing after Brighton quoted £100 million or $136 million. Sources have told the four-letter that United believe Brighton could now be willing to accept a lower offer, leading to renewed interest. Yesterday, we mentioned Mark McKenzie. The transaction and the transfer from Toulouse back to the Union is being finalized. There'll be a DP arriving in January ahead of the sprint season and a transfer fee of around $2.5 million. Newcastle made contact with City over the deal on Nico Gonzalez. City are open to offers, despite Gonzalez saying during preseason his intention is to stay at the Etihad. Newcastle looking to strengthen their midfield after sanctioning Bruno Guimarães' £75 million move to Arsenal. We mentioned Bowley, Clearlake, and Mark Walter yesterday. Go to the esk.org and look up Paul Quinn's analysis of it. We went through it yesterday, a great deal, but Paul goes into a big deep dive. So the esk.org, that's Paul Quinn's site where he does a lot of economic deep dives. Other rumors. Arsenal in talks with Villa over the signing of Ezri Konsa. That's from David Ornstein. We'll get into more from Ornstein, Jacobs, and Bogert in a bit. Manchester City have opened talks with Bournemouth over a move for Alex Scott, linked with cross-city rivals Manchester United this summer. That's from Nicola Shearer. TalkSport, Manchester United confident J.J. Gabriel will swerve interest from Chelsea by signing a long-term deal at Old Trafford. Also, Everton, one of several European clubs tracking Burnley striker Zion Fleming. We mentioned that yesterday, being reinforced today by TalkSport. Burnley want to keep him. Coventry City have had an £8.5 million bid from Ruben Loftus-Cheek rejected by AC Milan. That's a Tutto Sport. Sky, also Real Betis on the verge of signing forward Troy Parrott for a fee in the region of £17 million. Fabrizio Romano, Strasbourg have agreed on a deal to sign Werder Bremen defender Karim Koulibaly, set to pay an initial €20 million fixed with an additional future transfer clause. So there's a sell-on and €20 million for Koulibaly, and his future is viewed as a Chelsea player. Sky Germany, Galatasaray, full agreement with Lokomotiv Moscow over the proposed transfer, €25 million, attacking midfielder Alexei Batrakov. Sky Germany, Borussia Mönchengladbach set to re-sign Japan center back Ko Itakura 1 year after he joined Ajax in a €10 million deal. Darwin Nunez is on the verge of signing with Algeria with a deal from Al Hilal in the final stages. That's from Fabrizio Romano. Wolves entered the race for Brighton winger Amario Cozier-Dewberry, who's also a target for Rangers and Bolton. That's from the Argus. Foot Mercato Bundesliga's Paderborn have submitted a €9 million bid to sign Young Boys winger Alan Virginius and Ben Jacobs, who we'll get to in a sec. Hull City have held talks with Forest over a loan move for winger Dilane Bakwa, who arrived last summer there from Strasbourg. So that's your rumors. So let's get into what Ben Jacobs has been getting into this morning. And he has been your standard amount of busy. So, and literally, he was very, very busy. So here's what Ben has. Inter expected to place a new bid for Curtis Jones. Direct talks with Liverpool. They're trying to close the deal. Package and structure under a discussion similar to the €35 million that saw Inter sign Jed Spence. He says that the talks are going in a positive direction. Reggie Walsh joins Wigan on a season-long loan. Agreement almost in place, set to sign an improved Chelsea contract before departing. We mentioned Algeria and Darwin Nunez. Al Hilal was looking to offload him, who'd also drawn interest from Trabzonspor. No concerns for Manchester United about Carlos Baleba's ankle injury. Indications he'll be sidelined for a few weeks, but nothing major. Arsenal and Ezri Konsa, club-to-club talks. Big gulf in valuation early this summer. Villa was asking for £60 million. Arsenal bid half that, but they'll probably come up somewhere in the middle. Konsa was always the top target despite interest in João Kwanzaa, Jacobo Ramon, and John Stones before his move to Inter. Leeds confirmed that Swiss international Nico Elvedi has joined for Borussia Mönchengladbach. €8 million plus a $2 million fee. Konsa, once again, the top center back target for Arsenal. Added appeal of being able to cover for William Saliba and play right back. Jordan James and Rennes. Wolves agreed to principle to sign him, loan with a £10 million option to buy, formalizing of the move today. Carlos Baleba, David Ornstein called it at $60 million plus $5 million. Confident on reaching an agreement with United and Brighton. Clubs are negotiating a final number. Baleba's already agreed to the move. Verbal terms are in place, and we'll keep an eye on that. Once again, Paul Pogba, a free agent. Zion Suzuki, 30 million euro plus 5. He was their first choice keeper now, so we'll see what the future is for Emi Martinez. Jovan Milosevic has picked Braga over Udinese despite an attempt by Udinese late. He's going to undergo his Braga medical today. Looks like it's in place for 8 million euro. He's going to sign a 5-year deal. Matteo Ruggeri is 17 million pounds there, joining from Atletico de Madrid. West Ham confirmed Joel Pirro had joined from Leeds on a season-long loan, conditional obligation to buy if they get promoted. Deal could be worth 12 million pounds, guaranteed if Pirro joins permanently, taking into account the loan fee. George Hurst set to join Stoke from Ipswich, package of around 10 million, agreed between clubs, including add-ons. Troy Parrott, once again, Royal Betis, 17 million. Betis and AZ currently finalizing an agreement. Rodri held up the jersey. Rodrigo 2030. So it's there. No signing, no hovering of a pen over a contract or a notebook, but he's holding up a jersey, and there's a fancy projection graphic behind him. Fresh challenge, chance to experience new things and feel that excitement again. Come to a hugely ambitious club that really suits my personality. Try to help in every way I can to achieve our objectives this season. We mentioned Xavier Gozo. The fee is around 11 million pounds, 15 million US. He has a picture coming out of one of the phone booths, looking desirously into the future. So there's no hovering, but he's popped out of a phone booth like Doctor Who, and he's looking down the street. So Xavier Gozo is official. Big move for RSL. And it probably won't be the last down the line, considering all their young talent. Keep an eye on Sergi Solans and a couple of others. Just ask Jarrett. Al Hilal yesterday made the move for Ali Watkins, 45 million euro there. David, the Embolo back and forth is getting more like Gigi and Latte Lot. Time to move on to someone else. Well, that's the thing. Once again, Atlanta's team no leaks. So depending on your sources, depending on where you're looking, depending on where things are, biggest question for me is I legitimately would ask, hey, do you want to be here? Do you want to be here? If not, then we'll move on. I mean, that's cool and everything, but do you want to be here? Or, or is this more the agent talking publicly, trying to sit there and get more money out of folks? That's where I am in all of this. Hey, do you want to be here? Okay, cool. Let's get to it. If not, then all right. Yeah, we know that you're driving up. We know you're driving it up to try and get other folks to pay attention. So we'll see. So we'll see where it is. But obviously, if there is a desire to stay in Europe, then they've got to boogie quick because of the season starting for a lot of places in the European theater. So we'll keep an eye on Embolo. And so we'll see what happens. But that is the latest. And I went and looked this morning, and there's no updates from what we had yesterday, where the Ipswich papers were like, no, there hasn't been any contact. And everybody else has been like, well, there's contact. Ipswich paper said no. No update from the Ipswich paper on that itself. So now that I'm saying it, the Ipswich Star. Okay, so Ipswich Star. And so let's see if there is anything else that is out there. Probe into that. Promotion. Not at the moment. I'm not interested. I don't want to do it. All right, so that's the parade. Ipswich Town. So sport. Let's go here. So the Ipswich Star released young town duo signing for a new club in non-league football. Transfer news, Van Ovelen set for a loan, but there will be no buy clause. And as of yesterday's article, I'm trying to see if there's any kind of an update from the Ipswich Star. And this is where we really do get to sit and look at things. From Stuart Watson, no updates at the bottom of the article. So what Stuart Watson said yesterday has been the last one on the books. And besides, Ipswich has looking like they're going to have close to 30 players, and they've got to get down to 23. So You really better like him if you're interested. But according to Stuart Watson, there has not been any interest by Ipswich, and it's just talk. So that's the latest on Braille and Bolo. But once again, there's a lot we don't know. We don't know what we don't know when it comes to what they're looking at. And I would always caution in transfer windows that there's a lot that we don't know that's going on behind the scenes than is being reported publicly. Everything that we always hear when it comes to Atlanta United is inbound. It's from the player that is apparently being linked. It is nothing outbound to, hey, we're interested in so-and-so. It's all inbound information. Because the last thing you want to do is sit there and put yourself in a bind by saying, yeah, we're interested in your player, and you say it publicly. Oh, guess what? The price just went up. So there is no Braille and Bolo update from the Ipswich side of things or from the Wren side of things. So there's nothing that's new that we haven't talked about. And so keep an eye on the Ipswich Star newspaper and anything involving Braille and Bolo and chasing after strikers. Okay. All right. It is now close to the bottom of the hour. And I guess that was the opening salvo of everything that's going on. Oh, I got to do what to watch, where to watch it, how to watch it. My bad. I knew there was something that was out there. So let's see. So, all right. So college soccer this week. Let's see if there's any college soccer today. There are 6 women's soccer matches today, starting at 4:00 in the afternoon. And none of them are involving teams in the state of Georgia, but we do have in the footprint Southern Wesleyan and UNC Asheville at 6, and Union of Tennessee and North Alabama at 8. Jacksonville and ETBU is on flow at 8:30. Tomorrow is when business really picks up on the men's side and on the women's side. Remember, 7:00 tomorrow. It is James Madison in Georgia, SEC Network. Like I said, Marion Crowder set to join us in about an hour to talk about it. And our pregame show is going to be at 6. It's going to go to about 6:50. You're going to hear from Kadani McAlpine. You're going to hear a little bit of the conversation from Marion if you miss it. And then we're also catching up on the James Madison side of things. Bat and leadoff tomorrow will be their coach. So we're going to be getting all 3 perspectives, and we're going to be on the air at 6:00 pregame, 6 to 6:50, and then we'll send you over to the SEC Network with the broadcast there. Like I said, we'll catch up with Marion here coming up in about an hour to get her thoughts on what she's learned so far, what it's like for her to go back to UGA and be walking along the sidelines in that building for something other than Saturday afternoon football. And we'll catch up with her, considering she's an OG. So that's coming up here later in the show. A lot of action tomorrow. Trust me, there's a lot of action, men's and women's side tomorrow, and we'll try and get the mashup prepared on the Friday show. But that's going to be a lot of folks that we're going to be paired up with. But, yeah, 6 matches, women's side. That is later today in the college game. But today, since today is a Wall Pass Wednesday, Libertadores Sudamericana going back at it again in the rounds of 16. Cerro Porteño and Palmeiras is at 6. Santa Fe and River Plate at 8:30. You can get BN on Fanatis at fntz.co/soccer down here. With the BNs, you get Libertadores and Sudamericana. You get everything going on in AFCON and the CAF and the Champions League and WAFCON. Greatest WAFCON tournament I think that they've had. And we'll catch up with our friend Ollie Howarth to kind of get the post-mortem on it. And you get the 4 European leagues that they now have. It is the Portuguese League, the Turkish League, the French League, and the Polish League. They're all up and running. And you get those there. You get ties to Tigo Sports and CATV. You get ties to Teisei in Argentina, which means you get the Copa Argentina and the LPF. You get a lot of the first and second divisions in South America. I mean, literally, you are searching, and it's like, oh, what's this? And you get a B division that you didn't know about. You get TVV out of Venezuela, CDO Plus out of Chile, Liga 1 Max Pro out of Peru, and I'm sure that there are some that I'm missing. But you get a lot of stuff in South America. Like I said, you get the LPF, you get the Brasileiro, you get all that stuff wall to wall, and you get that in the BNs and at Fanatis at fntz.co/soccer down here. CBS Sports Network, USL Championship tonight, Phoenix Rising, Colorado Springs. That's at 10 o'clock. FS1 has the doubleheader. Sporting Kansas City and St. Louis City SC. listed at 8, so that means 8:20, and Cali Classico at 10:30, which means 10:50. So it's a late night on FS1. FS2 has the Canadian Premier League, Forge and Supra. That's at 7 o'clock. You can also catch that on One Soccer. Bien en Español simulcasting the Copas. ESPN Deportes has La Liga at 3 o'clock, Atletico de Madrid and Malaga. Fox Deportes has a friendly with Barcelona and Al-Ahly at 2, simulcasting MLS at 8 and 10:30. Champions League today, Celtic and Lusk at 3 o'clock. So that way you get keep an eye on George Bello, 3 o'clock. Celtic and Lusk at 3, and USL Championship at 10 o'clock with Phoenix and Colorado Springs. All the games with Apple, we'll go over all those in a bit. USL League One and La Liga on ESPN+. One Knox, Hearts of Pine, Sarasota, Chattanooga, and Corpus Christi in the Cosmos. Fox ONE, once again, they've got the friendlies. They've got Canadian Premier League. They have Atletico Ottawa and Vancouver also at 7 o'clock, and your doubleheader in MLS. Fox Soccer Plus is where you find that alternate broadcast. The 5 games in MLS Next Pro. One Football, MLSNextPro.com, Major League Soccer YouTube channel. Paramount Plus has 4 Champions League games. Caribbean Cup at 6. 3 games in the Central American Cup, including Marathon and Alianza at 9. And then the USL Championship at 10. Viks has 3 of the 4 Champions League games. It is Celtic, Lusk, Hapoel Beersheva, and Saba, and Slovan Bratislava, and Celje, and Sudamericana tonight on Viks, Coquimbo Unido, and Platense. Women, midweek, it is NWSL CBS Sports Network at 8, Houston and Chicago Stars. On the Plus, it's Racing Louisville and Seattle Reign. That one is at 6:30. So busy Wednesday across the board, and that's what to watch, where to watch it, how to watch it. Brought to us by our friends at Fanatis at fntz.co/soccer down here. All right, let's get you into Major League Soccer. What we will do is, obviously, we'll go through the juice boxes, and Dylan Butler comes up in about a half hour, and he'll help break all this stuff down for us. And then, obviously, we'll look at Atlanta and Minnesota and let you know what we see there when it comes to this particular matchup. So, with Atlanta and Minnesota, there's a flashback that was posted this morning on the social medias, and it has to do with the snow game that welcomed Minnesota into Major League Soccer, and Atlanta scoring a lot of goals in the snow. It was an orange ball alert. We're not going to have that at 8:40 at Allianz Field. And with Atlanta snapping their 4-game winless streak last time out against Red Bulls, Minnesota is unbeaten in 2, but before that, they lost 2 in a row. Head-to-head, Atlanta has won 3 of the 5 in the overall. There have been no draws in this matchup in the last 5. So, obviously, Minnesota is predicted to win in this one. Right now, the standings, just so you've got them, we know what Atlanta United is in the Eastern Conference. In the Western Conference, for Minnesota, they're in 9th. They're in the play-in game right now, 6-6-7. 21 goals scored in 19 games. So they are not very offensively minded. They've only given up 26, which is about a goal and a third, 1.3 per game, but they're not scoring a whole lot. And they're 2-2-5 at home this year. Better on the road than they are at home, Cam Knowles. 2-2-5 at Allianz this season. So 6-6-7 for Minnesota, and offensively challenged they are. That sounded very Yoda-esque. Offensively challenged, they are. And so you have the Loons and – sorry, I'm taking an early hydration break. Morning, Dale. So, obviously, once again, Minnesota not scoring a whole lot. And when you look at offensively, you were wondering, everybody was talking about James Rodriguez leading into the World Cup, and that did not go well. It was not something that went well at all. Minnesota picked up A.Z. Jackson. We know how much of a pain in the butt he has been in multiple locations, whether it's Columbus or Vancouver, you name it. He has been a true pain in the butt when it comes to just being out there with teams that Atlanta United have been playing against. So he's on loan, but keep an eye on him. Kelvin Yeboah, their leading scorer, with 8 of the 21. Anthony Marcanic has 4. Shankalai and Joaquin Pereira have 2 each. Then you have Kyle Duncan, Morris Duggan, Nectarios Triantes, Devin Padelford, and Mauricio Gonzalez each with a goal. But literally, you have all these different goal scorers, but Kelvin Yeboah has 8 of your 21, and if you add the goals scored of the next 3 behind him, that gets you 8. So you've got 9 different goal scorers this season. Yeboah's got 8 of your 21. Marcanic, Shankali, and Pereira, you add them up, they end up with 8. And then you have 5 that have scored goals after that, just on the board. You look at the I want team stats. I just want team stats. I don't want personal stats now, but we already talked about that. Okay, so Kelvin Yeboah, obviously 18 games played, 16 starts, 8 goals, no assists. Their leading assist man is Pereira with 7. But once again, it's Kelvin Yeboah, 8 of your 21. So I've got to do math here. 8 of 21. I can't divide it by 3. So 8 of 22 would be 36%. So like almost 40% of your goals are Kelvin Yeboah's this year. So literally you figure out what that's going to look like. And Kelvin Yeboah right now is the talisman that you got to keep an eye on. You got to go all the way down to the bottom when you're looking for Minnesota and the number of goals that have been scored. As I sit here and go through it right now, both teams 21 goals, by the way. But Minnesota, it's just substandard at home this season. 26 goals allowed, period. Starting lineup for them last time out in Major League Soccer on the weekend. Let me go back and let you know kind of what Cam Knowles was looking at. They had obviously the activity in Leagues Cup that kind of got them to this point. Last time out for them, it was a 1-1 draw with RSL. And Sergi Solon scored in the 82nd. Pereira scored in the 89th. Lineups for Minnesota, their start. 4-4-1-1. Drake Callender was in net. Left to right at the back, it was Marcanic, Morris Duggan, Michael Boxall, and Jefferson Diaz. 4 in the midfield, it was Shankali, Owen Jean, Will Trapp, and Kyle Duncan. And then you had Pereira sitting behind Mamadou Dieng, who was getting the start at striker. So that's what you were staring at. The bench on the weekend included Padelford, Bongo Longwane, Julian Gressel, Alex Smear. Yeboah was on the bench to start. Dominic Fitz, Mauricio Gonzalez, and Marcus Caldera. So that's what it was. That's what you were staring at in this 1-1 draw with RSL. Stats in that game. Minnesota, by the way, they don't like the ball. Minnesota thinks the ball's got cooties. They don't want it. So perhaps the idea is to yield possession. Hey, you guys do all the work. You're substandard at home. You don't like the ball. Tell you what, here's the ball. Get to work. 16 shots, by the way, for Minnesota on the road at RSL. 16-13. Only 3 on target. 5 blocks. 17 corners. 10 went to Minnesota. Total crosses, 9. 6 of them to Minnesota. They won 14 of 19 duels in the air and had a better XG in a 1-1 draw by 0.2 of a goal. 7 saves, by the way, last time out for Drake Callender on Minnesota. 16 clearances, 10 to RSL. They did have 12 of the 19 fouls in the game that were called, and they did get 1 of the 4 yellow cards in that matchup. So we'll take a peek at the ref in this when we go through the refs and let you know who's doing what where as we analyze what's going on. But Minnesota, once again, they don't like the ball, don't score a lot. Kelvin Yeboah is heavily slanted as their leading goal scorer. And so formationally, they came out 4-4-1-1, 4-4-2, however you want to play it, with Pereira behind Dieng. But we'll see, considering that most of their starters, the big names, were starting on the bench and they match up against RSL. So we'll see how it looks for Cam Knowles coming up tonight with Atlanta United taking on Minnesota United. 7:30 pregame with Abe Gordon and myself in Five Stripes Countdown, and then Mike and Jason on the call at 8:40. After the game, it'll be the full-time report. We'll probably carry it about midnight, and then we'll talk about it again in the morning. So that's the rundown there. All right, let's get you into the ref situations, for those of you that like to gauge what you're looking at when it comes to who's got the whistles and the flags, and we always like to do this and take a peek at what's going on, who's got them, and what could a trend be when it comes to these folks in the middle. Because you have everybody up and running, you might see some unfamiliar names that are in positions here in your midweek. FC Cincinnati and NYC at TQL, 740. Fotis Bazakis in the middle. Corey Richardson, Andrew Bigelow, your ARs. Adahan Yaya is your fourth. Michael Radchik, Cameron Blanchard are upstairs. Crew and CF Montreal. Alexis Sanchez, by the way, addressed all the negativity yesterday. We'll get into that in a bit. Crew in Montreal at Scott's Miracle Grove Field. Malik Badawi in the middle. Nick Uranga, Mike Nickerson, your AR. Sergei Demyanchuk is your fourth. Edvin Jurasevich and Craig Lowry are upstairs. DC United, New England Revolution at Audi. Ricardo Fierro, the man in the middle. Jose de Silva, Ben Pilgrim, your AR. Sergi Boyko is your fourth. Eunice Marakchi and Karsten Gilwald are upstairs. Red Bulls in Nashville and Jersey. Lorenzo Hernandez, man in the middle. Matthew Nelson, Brian Dunn, your ARs. Jeremy Shear is your fourth. Kevin Terry Jr. and John Krill are upstairs. Purple team in Chicago Fire at Inter.co or Inter & Co. Rosendo Mendoza, man in the middle. Ryan Graves, Diego Blas, your ARs. Ben Meyer is your fourth. Ismail Elfath is your VAR along with Tom Felice. They are upstairs. Philadelphia and Messi and friends at Subaru Park. Philip Duyich is man in the middle. Ian McKay, Tyler Y. Rostick, your ARs. Pierre-Luc Lozier is your fourth. David Barry, Matthew Rodman are upstairs. Toronto FC and Georgi Mihailovic also got a fine for not leaving the field in a timely fashion off of his red card. Alexis De Silva's in the middle. Gerard Kader-Lebuy, Walt Heatherly, your ARs. Drew Fisher is your fourth. Brad Jensen, TJ Zablocki are upstairs. Sporting in St. Louis City SC at Sporting Park. Victor Rivas in the middle. Justin Howard, Adam Winkowski, your ARs. Marcus de Oliveira is your fourth. Lucas Zapala and Fabio Tovar are upstairs. Circle this one and bookmark it. Minnesota Atlanta United. Joshua Encarnacion is in the middle. Logan Brown, Liaz Arfa, your ARs. Guido Gonzalez Jr. is your fourth. J.C. Rivero and Kylie Smith are upstairs. Colorado and LAFC. Joe Dickerson, the man in the middle. Brooke Mayo, Red Hamley, your ARs. Jair Marufo is your fourth. Ismail Pekmich, Jonathan Johnson are upstairs. RSL and FC Dallas. Armando Villarreal in the middle. Corey Parker, Kevin Locke, your ARs. Trevor Wiseman is your fourth. Daniel Radford, Jackson Krauser are upstairs. Seattle and Austin, Alan Chapman will not be blowing the whistle. Just saying. Kyle Atkins, Chris Wadham, your ARs. Corbin May is your fourth. Katya Koroleva, Joshua Patlak are upstairs. Cali Classico, Galaxy and San Jose in Carson. Remy Touchon, man in the middle. Corey Rockwell, Jeffrey Greason, your ARs. Servando Berna is your fourth. Edvin Jurasevich and Craig Lowry are upstairs. Portland and San Diego. Rubiel Vasquez, man in the middle. Eric Weisbrod and Jeff Schwartzel, your ARs. Robert Vince is your fourth. David Barry, Tom Felice are upstairs. Vancouver and Houston at BC Place. Ricardo Montero Araya in the middle. Chris Elliott, Jeremy Hansen, your ARs. Iwan Jakansky is your fourth. Kevin Terry Jr., John Krill are upstairs. Now, that gets us back to Joshua Encarnacion. So we go to our friends at Who Scored, and we look for our ref stats, and we see 25. That's not too bad. Okay, so traditionally when I ask for it, they give me 2023, which I don't want. But your 2026 ref stats for Joshua Encarnacion tonight. He has not called a lot of games on a weekly basis. As a matter of fact, this is his third game all year in the middle. Morning, Knicks. So Joshua Encarnacion and Brandon Stevis have called 2 matches this season. That ties them for 29th of 33 individuals that have called matches this year. Joshua Encarnacion, third match in the middle. And when it comes to fouls per game, literally, Joshua Encarnacion is number 2. 31.5 fouls per game called. Number 2 in the league, and once again, Brandon Stevis, the other individual who has called 2, is number 1. 31.5 fouls called per game. This will be his third match in the middle. Fouls per tackle, he's number 1 at 1.31. He has not given a penalty this season in the 2 matches that he has been in the middle. He has, however, given 8 yellow cards on 63 fouls. So, yellows per game, it's going to be kind of a skewed stat, but yellows per game, he is 19th, tied for 19th out of 33, 4 yellows per match. And he has given a red in his 2 games this year. So, let's recap. Third match in the middle. Second in the league in fouls called per average. First in the league in fouls called per tackle. You end up with a handful of yellows here. 8 yellows in 2 matches. But the biggest things that stand out to me, obviously, third match in the middle. What happens? I want to see what his temperature is. I want to see what his temperature is. And is he going to stick to his 31.5 fouls called per match average? So that, to me, just stands out. Other than the idea of, how many matches have you called so far? That many? Oh, okay. So you look at Minnesota as a team. Once again, we went through the numbers and the goal difference and all that kind of stuff. So fouls, Minnesota is, let's see, where is Minnesota? 3, 6, 9, they're 12th in fouls in Major League Soccer, so middle of the pack. 224 fouls called on, or 223 fouls called on Minnesota this year, so they're 12th in the league in fouls. Atlanta is 17th. So 2 teams that kind of foul. Joshua Encarnacion calls a lot of fouls. So we'll see what happens there. Offsides, let's see, some yellow cards and reds. We got into that. Okay, so defending numbers for Minnesota. Let's get into those. So Minnesota is top 12 once again. 3, 6, 9, 13th in the league in shots allowed. So 99 shots. I feel bad for you, son. So 13th in 20. So in goals allowed, 20 goals against 26, shots allowed 99. So they're 13th in that in the league. So 19, and you're probably averaging 4.5. Let's just say 4.5 shots allowed per game. Shots on target, not shots, but shots on target. Then a handful of clean sheets. Save percentage for, wow, that's an interesting way to look at it. Save percentage for Minnesota is 154.7, and that puts them once again middle of the pack. Then defensively, your aerial duels, you're at 55.3, so that puts you in the upper third when it comes to those. Clearances defensively, not a whole lot. I mean, they're 3, 6. They're 23rd in clearances. Then you look at fouls themselves, once again, 223, which puts them in the neighborhood of, 4th or 5th. Middle of the pack. 223 is like 12th or 13th, sorry. So that's your defending numbers for Minnesota. Very middle of the packish when it comes to their defending numbers, averaging 4.5 shots on target a game. Attacking numbers. This should be interesting. Goals scored, they are, like I said, they're down toward the bottom. They are tied for 28th with Atlanta. So you look at those. So key passes, offensively, nope. Literally, the key passes numbers, they are 30, 29, 28, 20. They're 25th in key passes with 10. Atlanta is well up the charts in that stat compared to them. Let's see. XG. Let's get into XG. For a team that doesn't score a whole lot of goals, believe it or not, their cumulative XG has them top 11. They are 11th in XG in cumulative this season so far. And so they've got 1 goal through penalty, and they are 1 for 2 in that category in and of itself. Shots on target total, well down the pack, 3, 6, 9, 10. So they are 19th in shots on target, and their shooting percentage is middle of the pack. So this is this is a very middle of the pack team when it comes to their numbers. They're just kind of there. So that's the club stats as we look at them. We got the starting lineup. Once again, they sat a lot of guys that are their number ones, like Yeboah. He sat last time out, did not start against RSL. So looking at that. But I'll go back to, and you'll probably hear me bring this up again when Abe and I are discussing it, with Joshua Encarnacion in the middle. Only his 3rd match of the year. And you have a team legitimately that is in fouls, once again, 3, 6, 9, 12th in fouls in Major League Soccer. And Atlanta is like 17th. So 10 fouls on average per match. You've got a ref that calls 31 and a half. Something's got to give here. So 2 teams that don't really foul a whole lot, and you've got a center ref that calls a lot of fouls. What way does this go? That's the other part of this for me is, okay, so we know what your DNA is. Do you stick with that, or do you go against type? So that would be the other element in this for me when it comes to what you're staring at in the action tonight here in the midweek, because you've also got to pay attention to your match on the weekend because of what things look like. What does starting 11s look like across the board? And that for me is another part of this. What your starting lineup is going to look like, and not just in the Atlanta match, but in these matchups across the board, because you have games coming up again on the weekend. How much rotation is there? What does it look like? And how do you gauge how many minutes you give folks, considering it'll be 3 matches in a week by the time we're done? So that's kind of what we're looking at here. So looking at availability reports. The player availability reports, once again, updated through match day 21. Jay Fortune out, Mauricio Amaro out. Once again, that's Visa. Will Riley questionable because of the ankle. For Minnesota, Peter Stroud is out. Nico Romero is questionable, and Nectarios Triantis is also questionable with lower extremity. Very, very hockey-esque when it comes to your injury report. Lower extremities. Peter Stroud is out with a lower extremity. I don't know if that means he's missing one, or if he doesn't, it's like something's wrong, but what? Yeah, it's questionable, lower extremity. Okay, cool. What is it? But like I said, this is very, very Stanley Cup playoffs, hockey-esque coming from Minnesota United. So Romero, Triantis, and Peter Stroud, don't necessarily count on them as a part of the lineups, but we'll look at it. But yeah, Abby calls it tight, but it might be too tight. That to me is kind of what I'm looking at here. Is he calling it tightly, or is he calling it too tightly? That's the hook here. 2 teams that don't foul a whole lot, and a center ref that calls a lot of fouls. Is he going to push his reffing style of calling a boatload of fouls on 2 teams that don't foul a lot to where they're kind of, caught in the in-betweens about, what do we do here? But, that's kind of what I'm looking at when it comes to Joshua Encarnacion. That is literally what I'm looking at when it comes to Joshua Encarnacion. How does he ride the clutch and the gas in this game? Excuse me. How does he ride the clutch and the gas? That's the biggest thing here. That to me is what I'm staring at. Can he ride the clutch and the gas? That to me is the biggest element of this. So that's how it is with man in the middle, and that's what we're staring at with those. Let me get into juice boxes, and we'll see if there's anything that kind of shakes out here. But like I said, once again, with our man Dylan Butler, we'll go through a couple of the matchups themselves. But we'll take a peek at the juice boxes, and we will lay it all out, and we'll see what it looks like. But give me a second here, because I'm trying to get into my liner notes. No, I'm not going to drop $60 a month. That is not going to happen. No, absolutely not. No, it's not happening. No, it's like I'm trying to get game notes, and it's like, yeah, you got $60 you got to pay. And I'm like, no, that's not happening. Oh, and by the way, tonight, the irony is the year 10 celebration game at Allianz. I don't know if folks in Minnesota really want to remember what happened at TCF on March 12, 2017. Jacob Peterson scored then. I don't know if you want to remember that one, but obviously I think Atlanta is going to be working in that direction to try to make sure that folks don't necessarily, if you are a fan of a particular team, that you will be remembering what happened in that first Orange Ball game. Yeah, because Atlanta United ran the highlights of the Orange Ball game. So they did that as a way to remember everything that is up and running with this particular matchup. They ran Orange Ball game highlights. Nothing wrong with that. It was kind of funny to sit there. It's like, oh, by the way, we're celebrating the 10th anniversary tonight. And yeah, we played Atlanta United in that first game. What they kind of forget to tell people was the final score. Yeah, they did not remind folks of the final score of that matchup at TCF in the snow. In the snow, people. But yes, availability report. Amara with the visa process, he is out. Jay Fortune with a hamstring is out. Will O'Reilly is questionable with an ankle. So that is your Atlanta United update and everything else that's attached to it. So let's see, Campeón de Campeones Cup. It's like I thought I had my game notes, but hang on, wait a second. Do I have my game notes? Is that game notes down there? Yes, no. That's well old. Okay, anyway, juice boxes and a hydration break before we get to Dylan Butler really quickly. We'll get into the juice boxes, and I imagine Dylan's going to join us, and then we'll just keep rolling on through. And if there are games that pique his interest, we will get into those. Abby, cool. Spoke with Jay after the twos. Feeling good. Looking forward to coming back. We did. $2.5 million for Mark McKenzie, and it's coming in January. It will not be this year. It will be in January. That was part of the hook. Is that it's got to be? He'll be a DP, $2.5 million fee. He's coming back, and then you'll have McKenzie and Kai Wagner at the back. So your 730s. Crew and CF Montreal. Oh, that's right. I was going to talk about Alexis Sanchez. Crew in Montreal. Crew minus 147. Draws a plus 299. And CF Montreal is a plus 338. Alexis Sanchez, he answered the bell yesterday to the assembled media in Montreal. And if I could spell Sanchez, he was right there with the microphones. It's like, what do you say to those who doubt your abilities at 37? Quote, nothing. Football is easy. He said, football is easy. Explaining the reasons that led him from European football to play in Major League Soccer. Back at the age of 37, he says it's a club that wants to grow, a city that wants to grow. They told me hockey's very big here too, so I hope football can become the same. That passion, people coming to the stadium, enjoying it with family, I can bring some joy to the people too. So yes, he was at practice, but A lot of folks, he goes, I was training with the 22-year-old guys and I was running more than they were. I trust in my ability as a player. I was born playing football. I grew up playing football, and it's a talent that God gave me. I find it easy. I see the game easily. Football isn't just about running. It's about thinking and understanding the timing of the game, and I think I keep playing football because I see it, that it comes easily to me. Obviously, I'm always preparing myself physically, and I feel good physically. I was training with the 22-year-old guys. I was running more than they were. They were asking me, what do you have? Why are you in such good shape? I don't know. Prepare myself well physically, I guess, but in the end, I have to prove it in the field. Saturday, Wednesday, every day. I demand a lot from myself because I compete. The day I stop demanding that of myself, I'll say, I can't do this anymore. So there you go. So Alexis Sanchez, he was out. He was out at 37, and he was. How do we phrase this? He was using the B button on some folks at Montreal, and you get all of the back heels and all the fun and goofy stuff that are there. So, and Arsenal apparently, according to from Ornstein, signing Ezri Konsa from Villa. So there you go. All right. So it is at 10 o'clock, which means it's time for a hydration break, and we're going to bring Dylan in to hydrate together. We're all going to hydrate together. So, Dylan, as always, it is time to hydrate from our friends from a local Vine Beer, Wine, and Liquor stores. And Dylan is a dad, and he's a number one dad. So 2 locations, Johns Creek and Cumberland Parkway, Cobb Parkway. Thanks for being great partners. It's going to be the home of the impulse buy. You go in thinking one thing and you end up with like 98 by the time. So local Vine.
It's like me at Costco.
Local Vine Beer, Wine, and Liquor stores responsible for our hydration break here on SDH AM. So I was just getting into the juice boxes and the matchups for tonight. And it was the first one on the board was Crew and CF Montreal. CF Montreal is hoping that they have found the fountain of youth with Alexis Sanchez. He's not intimidated by slings and arrows at the age of 37. When this came down, what was your initial reaction?
Good on Montreal. You know, like they were kind of dormant for a while and not really making any noise or any big signings. So, you know what, they take a swing and that at least you like, right? You know, will it be a swing and a miss? Time will tell. You know, will it pay off in a, I don't know, like in a Drogba kind of way? You know, we'll see. But there's at least some ambition there to try something, right?
Yeah.
Like, and I think if you're a CF Montreal fan, that's what you want, right? Like you want your team to be active and make an exciting move. And listen, the ownership, we know, right? They're fickle, but they have shown in the past the willingness to spend the money.
Mm-hmm.
So that's what they'll do here, and it is definitely interested to see how this works out.
Yeah, and there have been times where you wonder if the Saputos, if they're going to spend money, or if because they spent it and it didn't go well, do they end up not pulling a trigger? But with Alexis Sanchez, I'm intrigued.
Yeah.
And you've seen the videos, and obviously it's practice and everything, but the imagination is still there, and dude looks absolutely ripped. I mean, he at 37. It's like, maybe he and GNC are best friends. I don't know, but
and to be fair, listen, I'll mea culpa. My hand was up. I raised my hand. I was one of the first to be like, Luis Suarez, really? Like, what? No way. The dude is washed, right? Like, and he has shown, whether it's off the bench as a starter, whatever his role is, to continue to do what he's done, right? I don't count Messi into that because he's just otherworldly, but so yeah, I mean, Sanchez, let's see what he can do here. But the first kind of box you want to check I think with a big signing is the intrigue factor,
Mm-hmm.
right? You want fans, you want others around the league to be interested in what this player can bring, and you want to watch. And Montreal has checked that box. Now let's see if they can check the next few.
Yes. So we'll see what it looks like with the CF Montreal and Alexis Sanchez. Like I said, I'm like, okay, you want to go down this road? Good on you. All right.
Yeah.
We'll see what happens. Toronto FC and Charlotte. Toronto FC is a plus 125. Draws a plus 258. Charlotte is a plus 186. Georgi Mihailovic, he got a deeper colored card than he would have liked, or any Toronto FC fan would have liked, and so he got the red, and he got to go bye-bye. And Toronto is a home favorite with Charlotte coming to town. Charlotte, I still don't know at times what Charlotte team I'm going to get, and I sure as hell don't know what Toronto FC team I'm going to get. When you look at this one in the Eastern Conference, what sticks with you with this one?
Yeah, the I don't know factor, right? Like Toronto, Toronto is one of two teams, including the one that is closest to you to have picked up in match day 20 their first win since early May.
Eesh.
Right. So Toronto, coming off a kind of a snatch and grab 2-1 win over New England. So much so that they had I believe they had one shot on target, and they pulled out a 2-1 win. How did they do that, you ask? Well, that was an own goal was the other one. But
yes.
So yeah, they're home. They're missing Mihailovic, yeah, and Charlotte. I want to see a little bit more of the former Newcastle guy, right? St. Maximin. I want to see maybe, he came on, he looked good. He was involved in one of the goals, like not a hockey assist, but was part of the buildup for it. So
I'm sure Dean Smith will find a way to try to recess the abilities of Alan St. Maximin. 2-5-1 Charlotte on the road this year.
Yeah.
I'm not the people's eyebrow is raised towards Charlotte in this one just because of that number specifically. But yeah, I mean, look, we talk about teams investing. Charlotte going after Alan St. Maximin, and we know what he's brought to the table overseas, and you're not afraid to invest to bring him in as a DP. So, like I said, Palace intrigue is there, but how do you integrate? And is there? Oh, there's only one soccer ball, kids, and who's going to want to be the man, capital T, capital M, when it comes to that one and Toronto tonight. Purple team in Chicago. Purple team is a plus 166. Draws a plus 289. Chicago is on fire. They're at a plus one. They're a road favorite.
Wow.
At a plus 131. I have heard that this Robert Lewandowski guy, he seems to be acclimating pretty well to what's going on. But what that has also done is, with everybody focusing on the shiny object of Lewandowski, that's created opportunities for Zinkernagel and everybody else, and they've been clinical to that point right now. A road favorite at the purple team tonight at 740.
Yeah, and Zinkernagel, believe officially questionable, lower body.
These are very hockey injury-esque designations that we're seeing these days.
Yeah, lower or upper body.
Yes. Lower extremities.
We've seen that. We've seen load management.
Yeah, well, that's cool. I mean, everybody was jamming on Becky Hammond for the load management. I want to say a week and a half ago. And I'm going, and it was a nationally televised game, and they're jamming on her for that. And I'm thinking, who was she an assistant for? Greg Popovich. What did Pop do in games? It didn't matter.
Yes.
He sat everybody, and much like Shingles, he did not care. He didn't care. Becky Hammond doesn't care. It's just load management. I just find it funny the way that folks are designated these days. So that's, like I said, I'm sorry. Once again, tangent, my fault. That's it. But
it is a well past Wednesday.
That is true. But away from home, 3-3-2. They're at 500. Chicago is, and the purple team is 4-3-2 at home, and they've given up a lot of goals this year. They've given up 48 goals in 21 matches. That is over 2 for goals against in Major League Soccer. That's not good, kids.
It is not good. And Orlando, we saw a little bit of Griezmann effect, or was it just a Griezmann bump? We'll find out more, obviously, going forward. And the problem with them is that they had dug themselves such a hole that it's hard, and especially in the East, it's hard to kind of climb out of that and then get yourself into a playoff position or get close to a playoff position. So they've got to be better, consistently better. And he's certainly the focal point of that. So, two of the biggest summer signings, right? Going head to head tonight.
Yeah. And he said, I think, and with all of the injuries that you have with Orlando, there's just absences in general for Orlando. It's Brian. Both Ojedas are out. Doesn't matter which Ojeda you're talking about. They're both out.
Every Ojeda that they have.
Every Ojeda. Atuesta is questionable. Nolan Miller is questionable. And you had mentioned Zinkernagel being questionable along with Sergio Orahel. Not having Mboazi at the back. That one for me, that's a stinger for a while, because
huge. Yeah.
You don't have that solidifying center back there in Mboazi out with the lower body injury. And does this create I'm thinking look at maybe plus 3.5 in this one. I'm thinking not necessarily what the juice boxes are, but I'm looking at that one going, maybe that one's going to have some goals attached to it.
You would think so.
I'm it's me thinking out loud, but take what I say and then go in the absolute opposite direction. Also at 7:40, DC and the Revs. DC is favored at home against New England at a plus 150. New England's a plus 165. What in the wide world of sports are we looking at here? I mean, that's that's why. Okay, yes, New England being 1-5-2 on the road this year, and DC being even Stevens at 3-3-3, 1-5-2. I didn't realize they were that bad on the road this year so far. Yeesh. That's not
and obviously that, when you consider kind of where they are in their form in the first half, a lot of home games that they had played. I would guess. I didn't look at the standings, but
I mean, they let's see. So if they were 1-5-2 on the road, they played 11 home games already this year.
Yeah,
New England has. They're 8-2-1 at home.
8-2-1.
They've been a TCB, like their man Elvis Presley, taking care of business. But 1-5-2 away from home so far this year. So, okay, now I see why. FC Cincinnati, and once again, I don't know what defense I'm getting from FC Cincinnati on a daily basis, but NYC comes in massively handicapped with injuries. So FC Cincinnati's a minus 119. NYC, by the way, is a plus 256, which is that's a large margin, kids. I mean, they're basically 500 on the road, but with all of the injuries that they have, and literally it was like, okay, when does this list end for me? All of these are out.
And every one of them is a leg.
Yeah.
Out leg.
Let's see. So 2, 4. So you have 4 bodies that you don't have because of leg injuries. You have 8 individuals with leg injuries. So that's like 4 dudes that you're missing on the whole. Baera, Farnos, Alonso Martinez, Thiago Martins, Maxi Morales, Aiden O'Neill, Kai Trewin, and Hannes Wolf all out with leg injuries.
But what you do have for NYC, which you didn't have on the weekend, is Nico Fernandez back.
Yes.
So that's a plus for them, and a team that is looking to quickly bounce back from not a good loss, right? You convert a pair of penalties in the first half. You're up 2-0 at home. You don't concede 3 in the second half and lose to Philly. So bad loss for NYC. Certainly, still above that first line, right? Or the second line, I guess, if you look at the standings, above the wild card line. So this is a big one. This is one of those 6-pointers because it's 1 point separating Cincy and NYC.
I wonder if NYC just mucks it up and makes it ugly tonight, just to get out of Dodge.
Perhaps.
Oh, I mean, it goes against type. I mean, it's like, okay, it's like, oh, Nico, it's, like in Ghostbusters when they're going after, when they're going after Zool. Go ahead, get him, Ray. And that's Nico Fernandez Mercado. He's Ray in this situation. Everybody else is hanging back behind the statues. Philadelphia and Messi and friends. Philadelphia, slight home favorite in this one.
How about that?
Looks like they're getting Mark McKenzie back in January, and they might be adding a piece like Mark McKenzie to go with Kai Wagner at the back again. But yeah, Philly is a slight home favorite tonight at the plus 141, plus 145 for Messi and friends, and the intrigue as to who might dress out for this one is where I'm staring.
I give a lot of credit to Philly. Like, it's funny. We see these players leave MLS and then come back, but they end up in a new destination, right? Like Jack Harrison did his stuff, NYC FC, went to England, spent time playing there. But now he's in New England, right? Like, we've seen this with others, but it must say something about the inner workings of Philly. That these guys are, they leave the Union, but now, they've found their way back. So credit to them. You just hope that they are the same or better, right, than they were when they left. So Wagner, when he left, was, one of the best fullbacks in Major League Soccer. We'll desperately missed him. And he did a good bit of business, right? Because he left, came back, got a DP deal. So we'll see what happens here with McKenzie.
Out tonight for Messi and friends: Allende Berterame, Rodrigo De Paul, who's out on suspension, Mikael with an ankle, Santi Morales with a quad, and Silvetti with a shoulder. So literally, you could be bringing up a bunch of folks from Messi and friends too to help you out in this one, because no Allende, no Berterame, no Rodrigo De Paul, no Mikael, Santi Morales, or Matteo Silvetti. That's from Michelle Kaufman this morning. Who's active? Who's left?
How about Philly? Just like, deader than I don't know what, but all of a sudden, the form that they've been on since the World Cup, now, a favorite against Messi and friends at home.
Crazy. Red Bulls in the swamps of Jersey hosting Nashville, and Nashville favored at a plus 137. Red Bulls are a plus 168. Draws a plus 269. Nashville, there are points where you just you run out of superlatives. You're waiting for them to step on that banana peel or slip on the banana peel and step on the rake. And they might have a moment where they do that. But
and that moment, by the way, came with Espinoza out.
Yeah.
And it was right after the World Cup. And he's back. The gang's all together. And we've seen, Saturday's results speaks to when you've got, pretty much the whole gang back. That's what they can do.
Yeah, and so I'm intrigued to see what Nashville can do on the road. Sporting in St. Louis City, SC. Sporting signs a DP, and you're like, okay, you use one of your oopsie buyouts to open up that space, and then you sign one of the biggest transfers that you've ever signed to come in the door. David Lee had said at the beginning of the season, literally back in February, I remember him saying, yeah, we want to bring in 12 to 14 new guys. And it's like and what we've seen from Rafa Vicky after the start, which was horrendous, they've kind of calmed down a little bit. And they've they're 4-13-2, don't get me wrong, but they've kind of leveled out in the last month of play in Major League Soccer. And so you kind of see where they're going here. That's not as much of a sieve defensively. And now they're starting to get those pieces that I think David Lee was thinking about. And Rafa Vicky must have the patience of somebody that I don't know to be putting up with this stuff. But you're going up against a team in all caps where they're bringing in folks. Yeah. They're bringing in DPs. And it's like they're losing a lot of their old core DPs, but now you're bringing in DPs. And if I had told you, that one of the hottest teams in the league would be St. Louis City SC, what would you have told me?
Yeah, no, I would have asked the drinks sponsor if you had had partaken in a few of what they offer there. And listen, you put them with Philly as well, right? Like, hey, by the way, let's fast forward a few months. St. Louis and Philly will be red hot. What?
Yes, exactly.
No.
Did not have that one on the plan. But St. Louis City, by the way, massive favorite going into Sporting at a -114. Sporting is a +2.5, and your draw is a +289. So that's kind of wild there. The others, the 840s and beyond, I will defer to you as to which ones we can play. Literally, we can go pressure luck, and I'll just start naming numbers, and you just tell me to stop if you want to talk about any one of them.
I mean, I'm looking here as well. I mean, where are we gonna go?
Well, do you want to go to Seattle and Austin to start? Considering where Seattle is right now and all the issues that they're having, and you might not have Pedro de la Vega. I think Jesus Ferreira is back amongst the dinged up, but Pedro de la Vega looks like he's going to be on the shelf again. He can't buy a string of healthy matches. Seattle has just completely and totally, I mean, literally it is, the hood is up, the engine dropped, there's oil everywhere. The tires are flat. You tried to go into the skid, and it's like they're off. Then the car is up on blocks now, and it's all of these injuries, and it is not coming together right now for Seattle. And they've got Austin coming to town, and Seattle is a massive favorite in this at a -137. What the hell?
Can we refer back to the first reasoning when you were wondering? Have you looked at Austin's road record this year?
Pray tell.
It is a 0, 7-3.
Oh, wow. So they are a Blutarski. They are a 0.0.
The only team, right? Yep, the only team in Major League Soccer without a road win this year.
Wow. Okay. So all right. So I'm sold temporarily. I mean, but what we've seen recently with
Sporting Kansas City has 2 more road wins than Austin have.
Wow. Under Davey Arnaud, we have seen, though, from Austin at home, you've seen everybody wonder going into 26, where is Mirto Uzuni? And now you have people wondering, what have you done with Mirto Uzuni, and what is this Mirto Uzuni? It's the Mirto Uzuni that you wanted in the first place, and he's gotten hot over the last couple of match weeks.
He has.
So now it's okay. Austin maybe is a little more dangerous offensively, but that 0 at the front on the road, I know. But that's the thing. It's like Seattle is so dinged up, and Austin is seeming to find their offense. Am I setting myself up here in this one with that -137 and the +320?
Yeah, I would just walk away.
Okay. I mean, I have zero. I have. I'm the last person to want to go into those things, but it's just like I'm seeing this rush of success offensively from Austin through Uzuni, which is why they got him in the first place. And they're starting to come good, at least in the last month. And then Seattle is just, they're in a full skid. I mean, it's like they are hydroplaning, and they can't come out of the skid right now. It's just been bad for Seattle over the last 10 matches. And
I would say of these late starts, the one that has a lot of intrigue for me is the Vancouver-Houston match.
Yeah. As we get to, so Minnesota United favorite at home at a -145. Colorado is a home favorite to LAFC at a +150. LAFC is a +161. RSL, Xavier Gozo, he came walking out of the phone booth like Doctor Who, and in the promotional photo, so he is gone, signed for $15 million to Crystal Palace. Good piece of business for both, really. They're favored at home at a -106. Vancouver and Houston. Vancouver is a -192. Houston is a +466. They are that big a dog in this one, going to BC Place for a 1040 kick, or probably, I think this is one of the LAG's a 1050, but yeah, 1040 kick. Vancouver, a -192 with Houston, a +466. That's crazy.
It is, especially considering, Houston's form, right? Of late. Consider this too for Houston. First time they've been top 2 in the West this late in the season, August, since 2017.
Wow.
So it's been a while since they've been up there. What is it? 4 straight clean sheets as well.
Yeah.
For them. And Guilherme has 19 goal contributions in 18 starts. So, when you look at, MLS newcomer of the year, right, he's got to be right there as a favorite. And I think a low key one as well, because, you understandably look at, we spoke in the very beginning of this, right, of Griezmann and Lewandowski and, these big names. Known name, household names who have come into the league. And I don't think Guilherme, maybe it's because he's in Houston. I don't know, hasn't, I think, gotten the national love that he deserves. And I think he's been awesome. He's been great for them. Certainly a catalyst. You've got Hector Herrera, who was, let's be frank, a massive question mark.
Yeah.
Right. Coming in, what is he going to bring? And what he's brought has been he has been a solidifying force in the midfield. He's, the better teammate version of himself as part of this whole thing. Listen, Houston, it's a cool story right now for them, and they get to, so while they're top 2 in the West for the first time in 2017, they're facing a team now in Vancouver that has been there, obviously, a lot over the last few years. But it's also a Vancouver team that's still trying to figure out the post-Berhalter world, right? And they do look a little bit different without Berhalter as part of that squad. So, how they continue to figure out their life after Sebastian, how, will Houston and Guilherme stay hot as they take about a 30-degree drop in temperature from Houston to BC Place. So, I'm very intrigued on that one. This is, I think, more so for Houston to kind of prove like they're legit. Right. Like these, the 4 straight clean sheets, awesome, great, but you peel back the onion a little bit and you look at the who of they were playing, and they were not playing very good teams. Right. You look at the 3 teams in the bottom of the West were 3 of those 4 wins. So, now they take a step up in class, a huge one in Vancouver. They continue it with St. Louis, I believe.
Yeah, on the weekend.
This is a stretch here where we can kind of figure out, is Houston an elite Western team? Are they middle of the pack? We will see.
Houston 1-0 over LAG. Then they shut out New England before that, Kansas City before that, and then they shut out Austin at Hell in a Shell to end July. Cali Classico's just kind of snuck up on us. It
really has. It's funny because it's the Galaxy home one, and I feel like that doesn't get the attention because it's it's not at Sanford Stadium. So I thought the same thing, honestly, when I was looking at the matches and going down and making my list, and I was like, oh, okay, LA is San Jose, another Classico, like out of nowhere, it feels like. And when you consider the way teams are playing, I guess that's part of it.
And LAG is favored at a +121, obviously being the home side. I imagine it plays into that a great deal. These, we know that those are going to go. They have their Wall Pass Wednesday and kind of philosophy of just going off the rails. And the Sports Center's next, by the way. 38. So they've only given up 27 goals, San Jose, but they've given up a lot recently.
How many else got that reference with Beckham and the mascot? I love it.
Look, but I mean, that's what we're here for. Nelson annotated. 6-2-1 away from home so far. San Jose, I think that one's a big one. And LAG's only 2-4-4 away from home. And then obviously the last one on the board is the later than late Portland and San Diego FC. Portland, Marty Cifuentes, new coach bump at a -105. And San Diego FC at a +2.25. What's up?
What an eventful, by the way, final 5 minutes for Dreyer, right?
Oh.
You rip off the jersey, you score the goal, and then a professional foul, and you're out.
No envy palatero for San Diego FC tonight. Are you on the desk for the whole thing?
Yeah, the whole enchilada.
Woof. Okay. So I wish you nothing but speed, and I wish 10 minutes of added time in second halves and things like that.
Yeah, seriously.
And so it's gonna be a fun one, and we'll talk about all this and what happens on the weekend next Wednesday. It's always great to see you, my friend. Be safe, be a great dad, and
hydrate.
Up with you. Yes, hydrate. Yes. See you soon. There we go. All right. There goes Dylan. He's gonna go hydrate now. This is where we pull back the curtain a little bit. I bring to you an OG, one of our OGs. And this individual, we have known her for quite some time. And we now can sit here and discuss things that are being added to her resume where she's going to be really busy. She's going to be really busy on the college football Saturdays, FOOTBALL. In addition to the football Thursday, and it's a homecoming for her. So we bring in one of our OGs, Marion Crowder. Look at you.
I mean, what a welcome into the show. I couldn't have written a better resume than that.
It's true. There's no shenanigan there.
I absolutely love being back here, my friend. How are you?
Trying to stay as busy as you.
Yeah. I think you actually got us because you're going to be in Sanford with us tomorrow, right?
Absolutely true.
There you go.
Pregame show at 6. We're going to go from 6 to 6:50, and then we yield the floor to something called the SEC Network for James Madison in Georgia, and that's going to be fun. And I hope there's like 97 bazillion people there. I really
Me too. Oh my goodness, me too. I was actually at practice this morning at UGA's practice this morning, and they've already sold more than 30,000. Who knows how many of that will actually show up, but the numbers are looking really good.
So how was Kadani and everybody there getting ready for this one? Are they focused more on the game? Is it kind of hovering over them? Is it over the shoulder? What's the vibe?
Yeah, the general, I was actually telling, so Joe Lloyd and Glenn Davis will actually be in the booth, as you all know. I'll be down there on the sideline. And so anytime that I'm a reporter, I kind of operate in a little bit of a different capacity than I do as an analyst. And so much of being a reporter is just kind of understanding the general, emotional intelligence behind what the occasion is, seeing kind of what the preparation looks like. And I actually was privy enough to sit in on film today, privy enough to watch practice today. And I will tell you that I know Kadani is very focused on the occasion, right? I asked him, I said, I'm going to ask you the same question tomorrow before we go on air to describe kind of what you're feeling right now. And I want to see if it changes from this 24-hour mark to the moments leading up to kickoff. And he told me that he just feels so much pride, right? He just feels so much pride in so many different aspects because of the way that this has come together, because of kind of the support he has had from current players, past players, the administration as a whole. So for him, I think there's a lot of focus on the occasion. But for the team, they were very, very diligent with their film. It was very James Madison focused. And I was actually chatting with Joe Lloyden this morning, and I told her, I said, man, this group just loves to win. They're playing a couple small-sided games to warm up. They did a little 11v0. And I have never seen a group of college soccer players just so excited to win every single activity. So for them, I feel like, because you also have to remember, they didn't have exhibition games. They actually, the University of Georgia, they had some scheduled and then weather delays, some travel issues, some scheduling changes. So the opening weekend, which for them was last weekend on the road, it was a little tough. And Kadani felt like the exhibitions were actually played last weekend. And so I think for them, now that they've kind of started the season, this is not only a momentous occasion, but for them, they're like, we want to win. We just want to win. And that was kind of the vibe I got today at training.
All right. So if you and I were in the booth, I'm moving us upstairs.
Okay.
Not that I don't love Glenn, because because Glenn is another OG of ours, and but we know that it's going to be Glenn and Jill and you downstairs. So if you and I are upstairs, and I know that standard protocol is going to be title over wide, and hey, here's who's playing, all this kind of stuff.
Mm-hmm.
2-shot in the booth. Then we go to players to watch. Then that's when you're either going to get the split screen or you're going to go from player 1 wipe to player 2. We know that there's going to be those players that are going to be there. Give me a UGA player that will not be in that opening VO, in that opening highlight package, that you think will be just as important as the player to watch that will be discussed upstairs if you and I were doing it.
Yeah, so I think for Georgia, and they've already struggled with a couple of early injuries, but I think for them the depth up top is going to be of a lot of importance, because I think that the way that they're going to try and press really not only tomorrow but throughout the season is going to have a lot of fatigue involved in it, and with that you're going to need some depth through the 90 minutes. So Maya Wolf, for me, is a player who can play a little bit of everything. I think that she looked really, really good, gave them a boost in the moments that they needed to have this weekend. And here's what he said, John. Here's what he said. And I don't think he would mind me sharing this.
No.
He told them at the end of film, he said, I want you to realize that when we're at home and we don't have to pick who's traveling, we don't have to pick who's coming on the road, every single player is available. So know your roles, know your responsibilities, and know that if and when your number gets called, we expect the same standard of you. Every player is available. So it wouldn't surprise me if Kadani, again, given some of the early injuries, shuffles the team around a bit and see which of these young players, because he's got a ton of young talent, see which of the young talent actually doesn't look like a deer in the headlights, if that makes sense.
Oh, absolutely. And, for those that may not know the history here, you have a bit of an attachment to said program, because you have worn the jersey. You know what it means to be a Georgia Bulldog. What is it like for you to be back and to see what's going on, considering that in 3 of the 4 years that you were in a UGA uniform, you led the team in points, 2013, 2015, and 2016. And look, you had you led them in game winner categories. You lead them shots in 2016. I get the giggling here, and I say this because you know what it means on one level.
Mm-hmm.
You're kind of getting to look in the looking glass here a little bit because of all the time that you've spent in and around this program. What has it been like for you to be locked in, but at the same time see where the sport is now from a place where you played?
That's a great question. And I feel like I echo exactly what Kadani feels. Now we feel it in 2 different varieties. He feels pride for a lot of what he's been able to accomplish, and a vision that he has been able to see come to life now. I feel pride in the sense that I have seen a drastic change in the program, a program that, as you said, has meant so much to me. And I think you have to understand, which you will get, but for our listeners, you have to understand how much talent is in and around the state of Georgia. You have to understand the big things that are coming to the state of Georgia. An NWSL team is coming in just a few years. U.S. Soccer is moving and making Georgia, their headquarters. And so when you think about all these things that are happening outside of the program itself, it really helps paint the picture of just how much quality and just how much importance and value that there's placed on this sport in that state. then when I pair it with kind of as you introduced me to, when I pair it as the opportunities that just going to that university has afforded me and the pathway that it has paved for me to get to where I'm at right now, um, I cannot help but feel, and for a few years I felt like this, really since I graduated. Um, I could not help but feel a sense of frustration, right? That the program that should be, could be, eventually will be, one of the best in the country. Places where you have, as a player, you have these opportunities that not many people can talk about. And you have the support of an entire athletic department behind you. And for a long time, I'm not sure that I felt like that about the University of Georgia soccer program specifically. There have always been great people in that program, but now the willingness to spend the money, first and foremost, to hire Kadani,
Mhm.
now the willingness to support his vision and trust that he's done this a time or two. He knows what it takes to win a national championship. And he also understands how to piggyback off of the larger soccer events in our country. And the fact that they have just said, you got an idea? You bring us that idea, we'll help you make it happen, and we won't stand in your way. There's an immense amount of pride for me. And then when I was watching training today, just seeing the talent, they are good. I know they're young, but man, they are good. And if you look at the young players that he brought in, it's, I mean, all kinds of players from all kinds of different youth national teams. And so now finally you've got this hierarchy of support from the administration. You've got the talent that now matches it. And now it's just about finding a way to actually get the results that kind of mesh those two things together. So for me, I feel like the best word is pride. It's a very different pride than Kadani feels, but I finally feel like this program is on the trajectory that it always should have been.
And by the way, for those that may not know, fourth in career points with
Oh
65,
my
third in career goals with 29.
I need somebody to break that. I feel like I've been third in career goals for a long time, and I feel like we need to somebody to shoot on up there.
Well, Summer Denigan had 22 and 25.
Yeah,
So
yeah.
so you got that number behind you. And let's see, third in game winners in a career at 13. And like I said, I'm just sitting here staring at a bunch of numbers. I'm trying to help. I'm trying to help out and where you're not in the top 10 assists. Come on now, what happened
I
there?
know. You know what? When I was so I went through a coaching change. A lot of people won't know this too. So I went through a coaching change my junior year. So I had a different coach freshman, sophomore year, different coaching staff junior, senior. And when we transitioned into a second coaching staff, we just struggled in general to find an identity. We were playing all kinds of different formations, and people often ask me, I never knew that this was a question I would start to get as I got like a little higher in the ESPN ranks.
Yeah.
But the question that everybody asked me is, well, what position did you play? And I like didn't realize how important of a question that was going to be. I just kind of answer like, well, honestly, we struggled to win some, so I just kind of roamed around and just tried to find any kind of space I could. So yeah, that's probably why the assist one is way down there. I was probably just trying to get behind the back line.
But formations are a loose construct anyway. It's not
And
something
now
where
they are for sure.
it's like it's no. So and by the way, you're only seventh in shots. What happened there?
Hey, yeah, but shots on target are the ones that's most important, right? Right? Right?
True, true. The other half of this equation is someone who also gets it in James Madison.
Oh
And
yeah.
when you've been studying the Dukes, what has come to mind in this? We're catching up with them tomorrow morning, by the way, batting lead up. When you've gone to study hall with James Madison, what sticks?
Yeah, I feel like for them, it's they know who they are first and foremost. And I feel like in a mid-major, having a very clear identity helps you in two ways. It obviously helps you win some of these bigger top 25 matchups because that is of massive importance for getting them into the NCAA tournament as one of those at-large bids. But it also helps from a recruiting standpoint because now with the transfer portal, no school is off limits, right? So you have kind of two facets. You have players who start out at a smaller school, they go into a bigger school, and then maybe they come back because they feel like the bigger school isn't for them. Or you have the kids who start out as a hot recruit. They don't get a lot of playing time. They don't really want to sit the bench. And then they want to go look for a quality program that's a little bit smaller. JMU fits a lot of the criteria for players on both sides. And so for them having a clear identity really helps, in my opinion, the recruiting process. It helps the transfer portal process. And they're ambitious. I mean, they really want to play with the ball. They want to have the ball at their feet. They have clear movement patterns for the way that they want to break teams down, but they're also quite ambitious going forward. And I think that's what makes tomorrow's game so exciting, is how many numbers JMU typically pushes forward versus how susceptible that leaves them behind the ball. And Georgia is a team that's got a lot of kids with a lot of pace up front. So I think it'll be a little bit of a cat and mouse game between those two head coaches who know each other quite well. I know you and I have talked about this. Josh and Kadani go way back. They have sold out many stadiums in their time in the West Coast, but Josh actually has plenty of Southeastern soccer connections. His wife, in fact, played at Ole Miss back in the day. So he couldn't. He told us that when Kadani came to him with this idea, he couldn't have been more ecstatic, and he couldn't have. He almost felt like it was fate, right? Because they'd done it so much on the West Coast that it just made sense for it to be those two doing it now on the South. So I was just really impressed hearing everything about their program and hearing just the clear-cut ambitions, the clear-cut goals, and the clear-cut identity that he set out for this program.
As you and I are talking on August 19th, how many separate calendars do you have?
I am trying actually I'm trying to merge everything into one, and I cannot figure out the best way to do it. I'm like, should I just put all the calendars on my phone? Like, should I just go only on like my ESPN, email, but then like the NWSL stuff won't come there. So I'm trying to figure it out.
I have 4 separate calendars, and the one that works the best for me. Remember when we were growing up, when you actually go into a bank and you talk you talk to the dude behind the desk, and he's got the glass top, but he's got the big honking calendar.
Yes.
That's the one that works the best for me.
Okay, so a physical one. You keep a physical calendar.
Yes, I do. Here, so hang on just a second. Let me show.
I was supposed to say, where is this?
This physical calendar is right here. I will show it to you because I have the Gmail.
I'm like, what is this ancient artifact?
Right here. This is August, by the way.
Oh my gosh, friend.
That is August. You should have seen it when it was the World Cup, June and July.
Now, does that travel with you? What happens when you're on the road?
No. When I'm on the road, I either have it written on legal pad,
okay,
or I have the old school
another
binder notebook.
Have you watched the show Silo on Apple TV?
I have not.
Okay, well, it's basically it's like an apocalyptic, end of the world. They're all living in these underground silos. I'm not going to spoil it for you, but more or less, they call like old Pez dispensers, like stuff like that, artifacts. And so I literally feel like seeing a written calendar. It's like an ancient little artifact.
Well, you are talking to an ancient host, so I mean,
no.
So
I want to know what you think, though, John, because you've been around this a long, long time. Like, I feel like it's hard sometimes for current players to wrap their heads around the fact that they're playing in a football stadium tomorrow at the college level.
I know, and I wonder about the craning of the neck. I wonder about this moment, and I wonder. Is James Madison going to be caught in this moment here where they're looking at what's going on and the entire lower bowl may be full of people screaming at them? Does Georgia get locked into this moment where you're sitting there and going, man, we got a lot of folks in here today? And does that fuel you, or is that a distraction? And
good point. Good point.
And which one acts in which way, and which one takes advantage if someone is stuck and their neck is all north-south for a couple of minutes?
Well, Kadani mentioned that to me this morning. He was talking about the fact that he wants, and we mentioned, which of these players that aren't starting are end up going to be the biggest impact. And I think that that's what he's also trying to figure out. When I put you as a young player in these big pressure moments, what is your response? And the only way I'm going to really figure that out is to give you a chance. So I think that's a really good point and something that both head coaches have kind of touched on with us in separate conversations.
Okay, so the reason I brought up the calendar is because you're going to be busy with the FUTBOL, and you're going to be locked in on that. You're going to be locked
Yeah.
in on the college football part of things. Your duties with the Southeastern Conference are going to be expanded on your Saturday, so those are going to
Yeah.
be busy. You need a private jet. So
I need to call Kirk. Hello,
yeah,
Kirk.
yeah. If you can get a PJ out of this deal, you'd really defend your NWSL duties where you're out so seriously, and that's why I asked, because between now and probably the national championship in mid-January,
Yeah.
are you going to be able to come up for air, and do you have your entire schedule mapped out to where you've got to be, and you pray that there aren't any problems in airports with weather and things like that in the Southeast? You're working in the conference that has the worst weather in the summer known to
Worst.
man.
Oh my gosh.
Have,
You know what, the interesting part about SEC Nation, that also makes it, just you just kind of have to sit back and let it happen, is the fact that we won't know where we're going until the week of, maybe the week before. In fact, our week one, and I can't, say it, we just got what the week one was going to look like.
right.
That changed 3 times in a matter of 2 weeks. And so like it's hard, right? Because you're the talent, you're like, okay, I'm gonna try and plan everything out. Like I'm gonna try, especially when you've got like college soccer on Thursday and
Yeah.
potentially something on Sunday.
Mhm.
You're trying to figure out, all right, well, does it make sense to just fly from one place to the other? Should I pack for like a week-long road trip, or
Yeah.
am I going to get to come home,
No.
throw a second suitcase down, pick the other one up? Like, what are we going to do? And now I've just accepted the fact, seeing how, week one has already operated. I'm just like, I'm not going to know a thing. And I'm just going to have to get on board with that. I think there's going to be a lot of working in planes. I think there's going to be a whole lot of like, paying for the Wi-Fi, hopefully expensing that from a tax perspective. But, at least it's peaceful, I guess, right?
It's peaceful, and then you have someone yelling in your ear, and you got to cut your head in half. Oh, by the way, have they sanctioned for you the double IFB,
Yeah.
or okay? Because I was going to ask about that, because in those loud environments, you've got to have the double IFB. You can't just have the one.
So I got to give credit where credit's due here. Devin Kerr.
Yeah.
Our good friend Devin. Our good friend Devin. This was probably 2 years ago at a USL Championship final. And one of the best crews, ever. Me, Mike Watts, Devin Kerr calling with some of the best, just like coaching. I love that league, everything about that league. And we're sitting there, and I am like, oh my goodness, I totally forgot. I had like just some, a 1 year, very, very cheap, like from Walmart type of thing. And I was like, oh no, like I don't know if I'm going to be able to hear tomorrow. They were talking about the speakers are going to be right near my little booth and my monitor. And he said, he was like, look, try these out. I don't like them. They don't fit my ear. He like did the mold that they gave him was incorrect or something like
Oh,
that. He was like, they don't fit my ear. And I actually have like, I'm getting one delivered to me here at the stadium tomorrow.
nice.
So I open them up, and they were the double. And I have used his ever since, until I'll get my own from ESPN finally. But those things are game changing, and his don't even really fit me. They are just, I can't even imagine doing like a single in a football stadium. That'd be crazy.
Yes. So when I see you tomorrow, I need to know who your double manufacturer is.
Okay. I'll take a picture. I just sent it out like 2 days ago.
Okay. So we'll do that. All right. So I'm gonna. What do you have the rest of the day? You gonna go get lunch now?
Oh, so we for those who don't know, so my husband also went to the University of Georgia.
Yes.
So he went, when I was at practice this morning, he went and toured their new, baseball facility, spent some time, piddling around on his own. We've got a 12-year-old German Shepherd back at home. So I'm gonna go, prep with the German Shepherd. He's gonna go do his thing. He's gonna play some golf later. What a
Wow.
time. I
mean,
know.
the German
So
what's the German Shepherd's handicap?
good question. Nothing. He honestly hates, you would think the German Shepherds love, like he loves to fetch, just like normal fetch, but you pull out a golf club and he loses his mind. It's like he has seen like the most villainous creature of all time. I'm just like, I don't. So we have to keep the golf clubs, in the garage. We cannot have them out back. He will lose it. It will be ugly for everybody. Yeah. So lots of prep. Lots of prep. That's what we spend our time doing.
Okay. So yeah, Madison Cruz and I will be on campus tomorrow. Pregame show.
Can't wait to see you.
6, and yeah, so we'll be there earlier than that, obviously. And it'll be great to see you, and great to see Glenn, and great to see Jill and everybody. I cannot thank you enough for doing this.
Of course.
It's been entirely too long, and you realize, of course, that you now have the open door policy when you can show up whenever you're bored. You know how to come in now. And it's like, I'm studying, I'm hitting a wall, I'm just going to go vent, and you can dial in, because Fridays are usually wide open in the 10 o'clock hour anyway.
There you go. I feel like that's the key, the vent. I feel like I'm going to have so many travel venting woes to tell everybody about. And I feel like one thing, John, that you and I should be on board with,
Sure.
We've got to make better travel etiquette from everybody. Okay. We've got to teach people how to be on airplanes, how to be in airports, right? There is a right and wrong way to travel. And I feel like we just need to just let the masses know. Okay.
Keep your shoes on the plane.
Yes.
Keep your shoes on the plane, and tuck in your knees. And if you've got to go straight leg, and go under the seat to make sure that everything's fine. Those are the two biggest for me. When someone's got when their knees are like right there against the seat, and then the dude that thinks that he's either, back in the 1980s and he's kicked back and he's watching whatever, and he's got the big sweat socks going, or he had the loafers on, and
now they're off.
To ditch the loafers on the plane, and you're like, bruh.
Agreed.
What are you doing?
And it's like it kind of touches my armpit, or I'm like my elbow as I'm like using the armrest, and I'm like, oh, what is that? Mm-hmm. Yeah. Well, yes, that one, and then my biggest one, and then we'll get into more of these as the year goes on. My
Sure.
biggest one. I need everybody to know, you can pick your seat beforehand. Okay? Don't come up here to me when I've picked my aisle seat or when I picked my window seat and tell me that this is your brother or your daughter, or can you switch to no. How long have you had these tickets? You can pick, Susan. You can pick. That's it.
I mean,
that's all.
This is for this week.
For this week. There's plenty more.
Yeah. So we've got it started, and it is Marion's travel etiquette. It is the MTE segment. That is, and so we'll try and find a sponsor for it. If you can find a sponsor for it, that would be great. If it's NetJets, and that way you end up leaving all that stuff behind and you go to a PJ, fantastic. Just go the rest, enjoy the rest of your day. It's good to see you. It'll be good to see you in person tomorrow. We'll vent, and we'll have all the things going on. It's great to see you, and I'm absolutely over the moon for everything that has been happening for you, and especially with the recent announcement involving Saturdays here. So yeah, you know that I'm not metered. I can't be, because I'm a professional in the industry. So, but we'll be watching. It'll be great to see you tomorrow, my friend. It's fantastic to catch up with you.
You are the absolute best. I'll see you tomorrow. Okay.
There you go, Marion Crowder.
Bye.
She's going to go and have like 5 minutes to herself. That's great. That's great to catch up with Marion. Let's see. So let's see. Morning Dell. How much is it players choosing the team and club dynamic versus choosing somewhere to live? That's a good question. Very, 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 very interesting question. We got to keep an eye on that. Charleston and Phoenix tonight. Yes. Actually, tell you what, let me get into juice boxes real quick for USL Championship, because they've got stuff going on in the midweek tonight. We'd mentioned that they got a handful of games. Tonight is Phoenix and Colorado Springs. We mentioned that one. This weekend, Loudoun, New Mexico United's off the board, by the way. Charleston and Miami. Charleston on Saturday night is a -270 hosting the Miami FC, not to be confused with a Miami FC. Oh, yeah, I think she probably was talking the Charleston-Phoenix final. Let's see. Brooklyn is actually a slight dog to Pittsburgh on Saturday night. Detroit dog to Tampa Bay. Tampa Bay is a +145. Lou City, a favorite on the road at Indy 11 at a +114. Rhode Island, a -238 hosting Monterey Bay, who are awful. Birmingham is actually favored at a -175 to Sporting Jacks. No line, Colorado Springs and El Paso. I think they're waiting for tonight before they come up with a line for that one. San Antonio minus 120 hosting Roots. No update on Roots' future yet. Orange County is favored at home with FC Tulsa at a plus 129. FC Tulsa is a plus 175. All right, so that is the rundown of all of that. Yeah, it'll be great to catch up with Marion and Glenn Davis tomorrow on campus. Like I said, pregame show for us is at 6 o'clock, and we will go till about 6:50. Yesterday, we mentioned Atlanta United 2. So here's your highlights of the Twos and their win against Chicago, MLS Next Pro. Maddie on the call here on the SDH Network.
He'll walk it forward. He'll look for the switch to Chong Kui. Great switch. Ooh, what a ball from Ransom. Turned over, but one back as the ball finds the feet of Chong Kui. Chong Kui out to Santiago Pita. Pita floats it back through, able to skip through his Dunbar. Dunbar cuts it back. Arif Kovac! The opening goal of the afternoon falls to Arif Kovac, MLS Next Pro's Golden Boot leader right now. It's a cutback from Dunbar, falls right to the feet of Arif Kovac. And he slots it home, makes it 1-0 for the Five Stripes. Chicago Fire pushed Atlanta United 2 back into their defensive half. Ransom trying to send it up, trying to get them out of that space. Chong Kui's able to head it down. Cup keeps it in. Now it's a loose ball in the middle third. Cibrian gets a tap to it. Now Jardines has it at his feet. Taking it forward, Jardines. Jardines plays it through to Dunbar in the middle of the pitch. Back out to Jardines. Jardines back out to the right. Great ball from Andrew Jardines out to the right. Enzo Dovolo at the top of the 18. Drifting inside, Dovolo with the left, sends it through! Dovolo! Unbelievable! Take a bow, Enzo Dovolo. Able to drift in from the right, gets to the middle of the pitch at the top of the 18. With the left, I mean an absolute rocket into the back of the net. Throw in, able to find Dunbar. Dunbar able to sneak through Dunbar. Falls back to Kovac. Twos couldn't make something in the attacking third. Now it's opportunity for Chicago Fire to break. Sinanu shielding it away. Demola Brown coming into the way. Knocked out, it's gonna be a corner. You got a great reaction from Sinanu after that one. It's a brilliant defensive play too. Shoulder to shoulder, shields it the entire way, knocks it out. Huge reaction. You love to see that. Majoub shielding it away. Great work from Majoub. And that is going to do it here at the Children's Healthcare of Atlanta Training Ground. Twos get the 3 points. This moves them to 6th in the Eastern Conference standings. 2-1 win here at home for Atlanta United 2. 5 matches remain. Critical points earned here at home before the next matchup for the Twos.
And that will be on Saturday afternoon, 1 o'clock on the network. And 12:30 pregame, 1:03 kick. Orlando City B comes to town. And right now, once again, Atlanta United 2 is in the 6th spot, but 4 through 12 separated by a good week, a good double match week. And you could go from bottom to top. You could drop completely out of the playoff picture. It's going to be this way for the entire, so 5 through 12, 5 through 13 or 5 through 12. 5 through 12 separated by 6, 5 through 13 separated by 8. That's where we are in the Eastern Conference. And big win for the Twos. So they get the win against Chicago Fire 2. Was a 2-0 lead, and it turned into a 2-1 final. We got to keep an eye on the red card from Enzo Dovolo, and we will see what the latest is there. We had mentioned, and here's some breaking Twos news, by the way. We had mentioned last week about Caio Assis. That is now official. The 18-year-old Brazilian forward has joined from America FC's U20s through the 27-28 MLS Next Pro season with an option for 28-29. Standout center forward for local academies in Fortaleza before joining America FC U17s in May of 25. Scoring 7 goals in his first 8 appearances, earned a professional contract with America, resulting in his promotion to the U20 side in August. U20 side in 25, 3 goals, 9 appearances, all comps, got them to win the Campeonato Potiguar U20 title in October. January of 26, 5 goals, 6 appearances for the U20 at the Sao Paulo Junior Football Cup. Finishes his America FC youth career, 15 goals, 23 appearances. Caio Assis, 18 years old from Fortaleza, Brazil, signed once again. MLS Next Pro deal 27-28 with an option for 28-29. So he is now the 5th forward to be inked. So signing for Atlanta United 2. No word on, obviously, when paperwork will be completed and what it'll look like. But that's the next go-round for Caio Assis as we welcome him to Atlanta United 2. According to our friends at Talk Sport, before we get out of here, apparently the Premier League is going to hold talks on scrapping the 3 p.m. blackout. The 3 p.m. blackout is the 10A time period here in the U.S. So all those matchups that we get to watch, if you have the Premier League package on the Multicolored Bird app, they're thinking about possibly blowing out the blackout. Decision on ending the blackout could be made before the end of next season, according to Premier League Chief Exec Richard Masters. Right now, top matches in England cannot be broadcast on live domestic television between 2:45 and 5:15 on a Saturday. So that is what? 9:45 and what's 5:15? 5:17, so 12:15. So 9:45 and 12:15, nothing gets shown live. And that's also kind of what it makes Soccer Saturday on Sky as special as it was, because they're going and your live shots with reporters on site wearing headsets with no cameras focused on the match itself. So the practice, which is enforced by the FA at the request of the Premier League and EFL, is known as the 3 p.m. blackout, could be removed from the next TV rights cycle, finalized in early 28. Current cycle runs through 28-29. Any potential removal, blackout would not be introduced until the start of the following campaign, so it'd be 29-30. Alex Crook, once again, getting into the ballroom there. Master spoke to Alex Crook at the Premier League season launch Tuesday after every championship match was available for broadcast on Saturday. Asked if the English football is leaning toward ending the blackout, Masters said yes, but it's not just us involved in the decision about Article 48. It's us, the EFL, and the FA. We've got to take that decision at some point in the future about whether things are going to change. Not a decision for now. Decision we've got to make for the next set of domestic processes that the EFL and the Premier League are going to do. Let's say in about 18 months' time, we'll come back to that decision about whether Article 48 should remain or not. Question also comes after the Premier League launched its own streaming service in Singapore. All 380 matches are live 24/7 coverage, a testing ground for possible future streaming in the UK. And keep an eye on that over the next 18 months. So the possibility exists. The possibility exists. Ben Jacobs, Tiani Reinders confirmed as the new Al-Qadsia player. 58 million euro plus solidarity payments are attached there. And I'm trying to see if there is anything else that is on the board. I think we might be okay. And because of that, I can't thank Marion enough. It's always great to catch up with her. It's been too long since we had Marion on the show. But with everything that is going on in her orbit, NWSL and college soccer and now SEC Nation, all of that stuff. Great to see what Marion is up to, and it'll be great to catch up with her tomorrow on campus. Tomorrow, Josh Samuels, the head coach of James Madison, bats leadoff, Power Hour in hour number 2 with Nino and Nico. And with Nico, we'll go over everything that happened in Major League Soccer, and we'll get ready for the weekend. So that is Thursday. James Madison, catching our breath, Nino and Nico. That's tomorrow. Then we'll be in Athens once again. Pregame show 6 to 6:50 on the network. I think we'll be hiding in a press box, in part of the press box someplace, and we'll have that. And once again at 6:50, we will yield the floor to the SEC network, and that'll be Glenn Davis, Jill Lloyden, and Marion Crowder. Great to have Marion on. Great to have Dylan Butler on, and great to have all of you on with us here in the chat. So morning, Del. Morning, Alex. Morning, Nix. So let's see. Morning, Abby. Trying to see if I have missed anything. So morning, Lokeville. Morning there. Let's see. Oh, Subliminal Artisan Ank. Nope, you're going to get added to the block list. Subliminal Artisan K. There we go. Yes, blocked. There we go. Morning, David. Morning, Abby. Morning, Alex. So that's everybody on the Twitch pitch. Jay, don't have any kind of a progress report, but obviously not active as a part of the squad going into Minneapolis. Obviously, tomorrow we'll have more on that. We'll blow up Atlanta and Minnesota in the second half hour and everything else that happened in Major League Soccer. Once again, remember tonight, 7:30, Five Stripes Countdown, Abe and me and Abe, Abe and me, 92.9 The Game on the Odyssey app. Mike and Jason will have the call starting about 8:40, and then after the game, it's full-time report with Abe and myself, and we're probably going to about midnight, and then back at it again here tomorrow morning at 9:05. James Madison, Atlanta United, Nino and Nico. That's your rundown for Thursday, and we'll be back at it again then. So can't thank all of y'all enough for hanging out with us. It was great to catch up with Marion as she was traveling the streets of Athens, the mean streets of Athens, Georgia. We'll be up there tomorrow to find out what's going on. This next stage, this great and grand event that's going to be Between the Hedges. It's going to be fantastic, and I can't wait to see what it looks like. So for everybody here at SDH, I'm just John. Thanks for dropping by, as you always do. Since it is the end of the show, that means one thing. It means we do this back in less than 22 hours. And play it safe. Mucha plata, y'all. See you then, and don't be a stranger. We'll see you soon.